Fade in. We're here.
And we're back.
Back in the game. I want to pick up about that idea about nothing's good or bad. So let's just start with this guy.
Once upon a time, there was a Chinese farmer who lost a horse, ran away. And all the neighbors came round that evening and said, "That's too bad." And he said, "Maybe." The next day, the horse came back and brought 7 wild horses with it. And all the neighbors came around and said, "Why, that's great, isn't it?" And he said, "Maybe." The next day, his son was attempting to tame one of these horses and was riding it and was thrown and broke his leg. And all the neighbors came round in the evening and said, "Well, that's too bad, isn't it?" And the farmer said, "Maybe." And the next day, the conscription officers came around looking for people for the army, and they rejected his son because he had a broken leg. And all the neighbors came round that evening and said, "Isn't that wonderful?" And he said, "Maybe." The whole process of nature is an integrated process of immense complexity, and it is really impossible to tell whether anything that happens in it is good or bad, because you never know what will be the consequences of a misfortune, or you never know what will be the consequences of good fortune.
So, that idea. My injury that happened to my hand, everyone comes to me and they're like, "Well, that's too bad, isn't it?"
Maybe.
Right. And I'm just like, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me. And all these other narratives around me are saying it's such a bad thing. But that's their perspective. That's how they would react, Nothing's good or bad. It's just your perception of it. You decide if it's good or bad.
You color it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of just want to talk about that for a second, because I think a lot of people label things like Donald Trump as bad, or like whatever it is. What if Donald Trump riles up people to actually do something for themselves, and like because he put a fire under people, like people start doing things, and Donald Trump ends up being a really good thing because, I don't know, good, bad, whatever, like, oopsies.
But having some positive consequences, right?
Yeah, like
Positive outcomes, right?
I think you turned off yours.
Oh.
Nothing.
John, man, sorry.
Nothing. You don't know if anything's good or bad. You just don't.
Yeah, it's impossible to say, and it's all perspective based, right? Something might be good for me and bad for you, and great for someone else, terrible for the rest of the world. You never know. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's interesting. It's like good and bad is totally in your head. It's totally your perspective of something. Totally just a temporary opinion of how you feel about something, right?
We're getting there.
It's just funny. John's having a little mic malfunction right now. His boom arm fell off, and
tighten her up.
He's really trying to do this really carefully,
John, just hold the mic
quietly.
Hold it like a singer, man.
I just wanted to let everybody know what's happening. Oh God.
Oh, sorry.
Wanted to let everybody know what's happening right now.
We don't take any pauses here.
Let me know when you're back on.
We don't edit.
We just go with the flow.
Yeah.
Okay, I should be good. Let's try that out.
I think,
We go with the flow,
I don't know
right?
how it fell, but whatever. Maybe don't knock it off. I don't know.
So sorry.
Have you ever had something happen to you in your life that you thought was bad that ended up to be good, or whatever? And I don't like the labels good and bad. I just want us to be able to make events malleable in terms of how we perceive them. They could be neutral, Nothing is good or bad. Everything is just is. And the only thing that makes it good or bad is the label you put on it.
Yeah.
That's all it is. I think it's how you spin things, though. How someone gets in a car wreck, they hurt themselves. Oh, that's a really bad thing. But they say, okay, well, let's look at the good things that can come out of that.
Could have died.
Could have died, right?
Mm-hmm.
Could be worse.
Mm-hmm.
So I had open heart surgery when I was younger.
Yeah.
When I was an infant. There was a hole in my heart. My oxygenated and deoxygenated blood were mixing.
Shit.
So yeah, I had open heart surgery. I got it patched up. And everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, it's that's bad. That's bad. That's bad." To me, it was like, well, that's just life. It happened to me. Yeah, it sucks, but what can I do to make it a good thing?
But why does it suck?
Look for the good.
Yeah, look for the good
in it, right?
It sucks because I can't play contact sports. I could never play football. I could never play and I couldn't play baseball. And I had a damn good arm. It's a shame, right? But I look at my whole life. I'm not just going to go and feel sorry for myself, right? Oh, that does suck, but you look at the good things you can do with it.
Yeah. Maybe you had more time for other things because you didn't play baseball or didn't participate in contact sports. Yeah.
Correct.
So I mean, it's just all about finding why you're okay with it and how you feel about it, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to find the good in things, you're probably gonna have a good life. If you want to find the bad in things, you're probably gonna have.
For instance, right now, John probably thinks his little boom mic is bad because it's not. But I find it fucking hilarious to watch him over here. It's fun for me.
It's not that it's bad.
It's not. It's just it's hilarious for me.
Maybe the table's bad. Actually.
I don't know.
Something. Okay, go ahead.
I think you can turn it back.
Something has to be bad in this situation.
Yeah.
The misfortune of you is giving us good fortune.
I'm thinking laughter, we don't have to listen to him talk as much. So there is a good coming out of it.
All right, what are the odds it happens again?
Just don't.
Can't wait for it. Okay. So do y'all think? I wasn't gonna go here, but I think we might do this. Do y'all think death is bad? How do you view death? Your death. And I know it's a loaded fucking question.
Damn, man, way to hit me with that.
It doesn't have to be you or him. It's just like, if you accept the fact that you're gonna die one day, doesn't it free you up to do whatever you want to do?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I think it's one of those things that is so far away when you're young.
You have no idea.
That you don't really give it much thought, and then you look at someone who's like 70 and they've given it a lot of thought. They embrace some religion or embrace some new philosophy to explain to them what's going to happen and give them some idea.
I think we covered the good and bad stuff. So what I want to do now, this guy who's giving this speech is an atheist. He's not spiritual. He's full-blown atheist. He lets people know he's atheist. But I fucking love this guy. Because what he says is so true. And let's watch this and see just notice what feelings get brought up when you're listening to this.
And it seems to me if we want to build a bridge to a rational world that the better part of humanity can cross, we have to deal with this fact. Now, most of us do our best not to think about death, but there's always part of our minds that knows this can't go on forever. Part of us always knows that we're just a doctor's visit away or a phone call away from being starkly reminded with the fact of our own mortality or of those closest to us. Now, I'm sure many of you in this room have experienced this in some form. You must know how uncanny it is to suddenly be thrown out of the normal course of your life. and just be given the full-time job of not dying or caring for someone who is. But the one thing people tend to realize at moments like this is that they wasted a lot of time when life was normal. Okay, and it's not just what they did with their time. It's not just that they spent too much time working or compulsively checking email. It's that they cared about the wrong things. They regret what they cared about. Their attention was bound up in petty concerns, year after year, when life was normal. And this is a paradox, of course, because we all know this epiphany is coming. But don't you know this is coming? Don't you know that there's going to come a day when you'll be sick or someone close to you will die, and you'll look back on the kinds of things that captured your attention, and you'll think, what was I doing? You know this, and yet if you're like most people, you'll spend most of your time in life tacitly presuming you'll live forever. I mean, it's like watching a bad movie for the 4th time. Yeah. Or bickering with your spouse. I mean, these things only make sense in light of eternity. Because even if you live to be 100, there are just not that many days in life. So what is the point of life? I mean, is anything sacred? Does such a question even make sense? And I think these questions do make sense, and there are answers to them. But the answers are not a matter of getting more information. The answer is a change in attitude. There are ways of experiencing life as sacred without believing anything, and certainly without believing anything on insufficient evidence. There are ways to really live in the present moment. What's the alternative? It is always now. However much you feel you may need to plan for the future, to anticipate it, to mitigate risks, the reality of your life is now. Now, this may sound trite, but it's the truth. It's not quite true as a matter of physics. In fact, there is no now that encompasses the entire universe. You can't talk of an event being simultaneously occurring here and one at the same moment occurring in Andromeda. The truth is that now is not even well defined as a matter of neurology, because we know that inputs to the brain come at different moments, and that consciousness is built upon layers of inputs whose timings have to be different. Our conscious awareness of the present moment is, in some relevant sense, already a memory. But as a matter of conscious experience, the reality of your life is always now. And I think this is a liberating truth about the nature of the human mind. In fact, I think there's probably nothing more important to understand about your mind than that, if you want to be happy in this world. The past is a memory. It's a thought arising in the present. The future is merely anticipated. It is another thought arising now. Okay, what we truly have is this moment and this. And we spend most of our lives forgetting this truth, repudiating it, fleeing it, overlooking it. And the horror is that we succeed. We manage to never really connect with the present moment and find fulfillment there because we are continually hoping to become happy in the future. And the future never arrives. Now, even when we think we're in the present moment, we're in very subtle ways always looking over its shoulder, anticipating what's coming next. We're always solving a problem. And it's possible to simply drop your problem, if only for a moment, and enjoy whatever is true of your life in the present. So we have a very limited view of what's going on. We're subjectively unaware of most of what our minds are doing. And yet when we think about what matters is consciousness and its contents. Okay? Consciousness is everything. Our experience of the world, the experience of those we care about, is a matter of consciousness and its contents. So whatever the origins of consciousness, the most important question for us is, how can we truly be fulfilled in life? How can we create lives that are truly worth living, given that these lives come to an end? We're all in the business of seeking fulfillment and relief from suffering. I mean, this is not to say that we want mere pleasure or the easiest possible life. That much of what we want in life, much of what we want to experience, entails struggle, and many of us learn to enjoy the struggle itself in some measure. Any athlete knows that there's certain kinds of pain that are actually pleasurable. If the burn of lifting weights was actually the symptom of a disease, it would be intolerable. But because it's happening in the context of a strenuous exercise and progress there, most people learn to enjoy it. So the conceptual lens through which we view even very intense sensation largely determines how we feel about it. And this is one of the many ways in which our thinking about experience changes the character of experience. So the frame we put around the present moment is important and largely determines our experience of it.
So I know that was kind of long, but I think this truth that people don't want to accept is like, we're all going to die. And if you want to spend your time, worrying about what people think of your last Instagram post or whatever the fuck it is, you can do that. It's your choice. Or you can just learn to be okay with what is and understand, like I've always said, like your life is just this piece of art, and you're just putting everything, every day is just a brush stroke. And the fact that I spent my life in such pain for so long makes waking up to this realization so much better. It makes it, because I've never been in this atmosphere of just feeling good and like being okay with what I'm doing and being happy and allowing myself to be happy. I know I'm gonna die someday, and as long as I'm doing things that make me happy until that point, then I'm not gonna have those thoughts at the end of it and be like, what could I have done better? Because I will have just always been. I will have always just been present for whatever was going on in my life, and I would have had the experience, which is the point of living, is to have the experience. It's not to put a narrative over it, I don't think. So I don't know who wants to go first, but just that was a long video.
What I kind of got out of it was, you spend your whole life avoiding death and trying to basically dodge death, right? But if that's what your main focus is not dying. Were you really living life that whole time? What were you not dying for? Just to not die? It's like, does that even make sense? Not really. I don't know.
And when you said at your job at Clorox or whatever, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. I guess I said it, so whatever.
Yeah, I don't mind.
You said one day, you're like, am I just doing this to survive? Like, why am I doing this?
Yeah, what am I doing? I like my job. There's no doubt about it. I like what I do. I like the people I work with, especially. But it's not what I want to be doing with my life.
And no one should take that personally, too, by the way.
Yeah. I don't think they should.
The fact that because there is nothing that, I think everything happens for some kind of reason. You learn something from everything.
Yeah.
If you choose to allow yourself to learn something from it. No matter how bad or good it looks, which are just labels. That's noise. But Well, no, no. What do you think? What do you think death does for you if you just look at it for what it is? Because you can't deny the truth of it. You can't deny we will be dead someday. You can't deny it.
Yeah.
So what does that liberate you to do? You
The
think?
closing of a cycle. I mean, I don't know. I think personally, you just have to accept that it's coming. You don't know when it's coming, and nobody can possibly know when it's coming, but you have to accept that.
This is great. I'm sorry. This is background.
It's funny because I can't hear it outside the microphone.
No, it's all in here.
It's so weird.
Yeah. It's kind of weird, but
It's a good mic. Sorry. What were
yeah,
you
I
saying?
mean, you just have to kind of understand that death is coming, and I don't know. Like
Yeah.
for me, I know that I'm gonna die. I'm not trying to avoid it so much
Right.
as I am maybe postponing it at times.
But you know you're gonna die. But majority of people's thoughts is, yeah, I'm gonna die, but it's gonna be when I'm older.
Mm-hmm.
So I have all this time
To do all these
to do all these
I can
things.
waste my
Right.
time
But
now.
you never know,
Yeah.
right?
Well, that's people are always like, so why are you growing a beard, or why are you growing your hair out? And I'm like, honestly, because
I haven't
in
done it.
20 years, I'm gonna look back and wish that I had done it, because
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, damn, I want to grow my hair out. Well, shit, I have a bald spot, or my hair's gray,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
You know, my beard's gray.
Do it while you can, right?
Yeah, I'm doing it while I can enjoy it. And I told my girlfriend this last night. I said, in probably 10, 20 years, I'm gonna look back on this experience and say either one of two things. I'm either gonna say, wow, I am fucking really glad I did that because I'm not capable of doing it today.
Yeah.
Or two, maybe I am still capable of doing it, and I'm so glad I did it. Like it's not going to be there's no real downside to living your life. You're taking advantage of what you can while you can.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think to that perspective, it does make sense to look ahead a bit and say, maybe I won't be able to go skydiving in 50 years.
Yeah.
So
So
I
I'm gonna
should
do it
try
now.
it now.
But you're still living in the present. Right?
Yeah,
You're still
And
thinking
you're
why
living.
I
You're
should-
living in the present,
Yeah.
but you're thinking about your limitations in the future and understanding your limitations in the
Yeah.
future. And a lot of people, I think we have a video on this in our first podcast. Kind of was like, they spend their whole lives building this nest egg, and they get to 65 and they've bought themselves a ticket to a nice retirement home, but maybe that money would have been better spent if they had gone skydiving or done something when they were younger.
Funny thing with money too, and I don't want to get sidetracked with this idea, but money is just a representation of wealth. Money is not wealth,
No, it's not.
No.
and people forget that. They're like, I have $1 billion. I'm like, that's cool, but that's just potential.
Yeah, it's like potential energy. If you're not
Mhm.
doing something with it to make yourself happy and to enrich your own life,
Yeah.
it's not real wealth, right?
No.
Yeah.
I want to go back to that point before that we were making about you being 65 and then looking back at it. I think I already mentioned this last time we were talking, but there's an entrepreneur I follow, Gary Vaynerchuk. He's got a really good channel, Gary V, on YouTube, and he said something that really stuck with me. He said, I think everyone should go to a nursing home or volunteer at a nursing home, talk to people, and say what's their number one thing that they could do over again.
Yeah.
Or just talk to them about regret, because guarantee everyone at a nursing home has some sort of regret. And they should have done something different.
Definitely.
It should. That
They-
word.
So if you go and talk to them, it's really about realizing that, hey, everyone has it, but how can you avoid that, or how can you change your course in your life?
And the funny thing is, we all have this free will. We all have this ability to choose what we do.
Yeah.
But we always just choose fear for some
Mhm.
reason. And I know why we do it, because we're constantly in fight or flight mode, because we're animals. And if you tell your body there's a threat and you need to worry about it, then your body's gonna worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
You make your reality. If you say this is a scary thing I'm doing, like me quitting my job and all this other stuff, then it'll be fucking scary.
Yeah.
But when I had this injury, I was like, this is a good thing. And I told I was like, I'm going to heal. And I'm going to heal myself, too. Not just the physical. I'm going to heal what's in me.
Do you think your injury was a distraction for your possible fear around quitting your job? Like, as in you are now more afraid of your life and of the injury than you were of, like, starting out on your own? Kind of like, maybe open that up for you in a way?
I think it was just confirmation for me. People like to think coincidences are just coincidences. And you can look at them like that. It really doesn't matter how you look at things as coincidences. But I look at them as just confirmations, mile markers, so to speak. when I see a coincidence, I see that as another mile marker that I'm going in the right direction, and the universe is just saying good job. And that's the way I view it. So when this happens, 30 minutes, this injury happens literally 30 minutes after I literally say, fuck this, I'm quitting my job. Like, I made the decision.
You send an email or make a call? What did you do?
Yeah, I set up a meeting for the next morning with the Nila wafers, and it was done. Like, the decision had been made.
Yeah.
How long did it take you, though,
To
to
do
make
what?
that decision?
Yeah. How long did writing that email
Yeah.
or setting that meeting up take?
I did it. I didn't think about it. I just did it.
So you, the night before, you said, fuck it, I'm going to quit my job.
So what happened, and I guess to get real granular about it, is the night before, my girlfriend and I introduced her to my parents. And my parents liked her. And then I didn't want my girlfriend anymore. It was like I only had her so that the world outside of myself could see that I was okay. And I loved her, I really did. But I realized I was having a girlfriend for the wrong reasons. I was having a girlfriend so people would say, oh, Trey's in a relationship, he must be doing a good job. Like, that kind of shit.
Yeah.
So I broke up with her. I did it, I was a little intoxicated. And I don't know. Something just fucking pushed me to just say we're done. And everything was going fine on the surface, but like there was stuff under the surface that wasn't okay because I wasn't happy. And then after I broke up with her, I talked to my therapist the next night, and I tried to play it off as, oh, I'm gonna do cryptocurrency and I'm gonna be happy now, and I'm gonna do my own thing. And I only broke up with her to pursue my dream of being an entrepreneur. And then she was like, well, you did love her though. And I was like, yeah, I did. And then I cried a lot. And then I was just like, why the fuck do I always push people away? And it was really hard to write about that in my book, to write about it in general, just to like to go through the process of understanding why I always push people away. And I did it my whole life. Every relationship I've been in, I would always, anytime somebody got too close, I would push them away. I would figure out a way to push them away. So once I saw that there was something wrong there, and the person I pushed away the most is me, I pushed myself away from being able to look at myself because I was too scared to look at what was there. And I was like, this isn't going to happen if I have this job. I'm not going to be able to figure out who I am if I have this job. So...
Do you think that you're pushing people away is maybe like your inability to live with that person in the moment, and that you're kind of like looking towards something event in the future and not seeing something happening?
I was anticipating heartbreak.
Yeah.
And I didn't want that to happen.
That's just like right back to this. It's like death. Your heartbreak in this scenario was like death in this video, and you're afraid of it. You were pushing it away, delaying it, and figured out, hey, maybe the best way to fix it is just to kill myself now, which maybe wasn't the right answer. Maybe it was. You know, there's no,
honestly,
no
I
right
think
or wrong, but
I think I did kill myself.
Yeah,
in a way.
Yeah. So you basically said that you were so uncertain about this impending event that you just went ahead and pulled the trigger on it now. So it could either happen at any time in the future, or I could make it happen now and control the circumstances.
But the point in breaking up with her was just like, I can't really look at myself if somebody else is in the picture. And I'm not saying y'all being in a relationship is wrong or it makes it impossible to do this. It just makes it a lot harder because there's this other person that is telling you who you are all the time. And I'm not saying that your significant others do that. I'm just saying there's a potential for it.
Yeah.
So
it'd be hard if they didn't. I mean,
so with the job I had, I go to work every day and I am Trey Jackson the worker, whatever it is, and I hate myself when I'm in that mode, and I can't. And then I come home and I want to smoke weed, and it's just this perpetual cycle of me escaping myself because I hate myself, and it just goes on and on and on. And I talked to my therapist, and I was like, I'm going to quit in 6 months. And she's like, well, why don't you just, she didn't tell me to quit the next day, but she's like, what's stopping you from doing it now? I think is how she said it. And I was just like...
You didn't have a good answer, did you?
No, I didn't have a good answer. And then I thought about it, and I was like, I've made money doing Postmates, and I've made pretty good money doing that, and I've made money trading cryptocurrency, and sorry for the background noise, everybody. And I was like, I believe there's an avenue to go. I believe that there is a way to live where I believed in this avenue that I could take, and I didn't really know what it looked like. I didn't really know what cryptocurrency and Postmates was going to turn into. I had no fucking idea. But I was like, I'm sick of the thing that I know. And the thing I know is that I'm not ever going to be happy with this job. And I'm not ever going to be happy doing, there were parts of my job I liked. I liked teaching people. I liked figuring out how databases worked. I liked all of that. I liked understanding it and learning it. But the mundane stuff, I couldn't do it. And I couldn't do it, and I couldn't be happy while I was doing it. And it's just like ripping off a Band-Aid. And I was just like, I'm just going to see what happens. And then the second I rip off the Band-Aid, I get the cat injury, where this traumatic thing happens to me. And I'm literally forced to sit down with myself and look at myself in a way that I've never had to do before. And that was the start of all this. Was the fact that I was like, okay, universe, you basically put me on the sidelines for the next month and a half. You're not letting me try to create this new job business thing. You're just like, you need to chill the fuck out and figure out who you are before you decide what you want to do. And I don't really know what the original question was, but I don't know, what was the original question?
The original question was, how did you do it? How did you quit your job? Or why? Or what did you think about? Or when did you make the decision? That was the original question.
Yeah.
And
was it the day before?
I don't know. I think I made the decision in the moment. I didn't think about it.
You just did it.
Yeah.
When you set up that meeting, you sent an email and said, hey,
yeah,
I need to have a meeting with you tomorrow.
And even after the cat attacked me, I was like, this isn't serious.
Yeah,
I'm still going to quit.
You didn't know you had a bone infection right away either. So this was just you. It was just, I just got bit by a cat.
Right.
I'll be better in a week or two.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you hadn't even had time to analyze the impact of that on your life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But do you think that maybe all of these things kind of needed to happen all together so that you were forced to be sitting here on a pick line, unable to really do anything?
Right.
I'm assuming you couldn't go out and walk around, right? So what did you do? You had yourself and your thoughts, and it forced you to maybe reevaluate some things and figure out where you were, and get more comfortable with that, right?
Yeah, we all want to stop and slow down, but we never fucking find time to do it. We just say we don't have time.
There isn't time.
And so the universe made time for me.
Yeah.
It was like, here, we'll help you out. We'll just take you out of commission. Like, you're done. You're not doing shit for the next month and a half. You're not. You're just gonna hang out. You're gonna go to therapy, and you're gonna actually work on yourself in the therapy, and you're gonna actually work. You're not gonna go to therapy to try to impress your therapist, which is what I was doing before. I was always trying to impress her with how I was doing better.
She hot or?
Sure, whatever. It doesn't matter. So I don't know, and just like the antidepressant I used to take, it just kind of leveled me out, and going to therapy just kind of leveled me out and kept you content going,
with what you really weren't content with.
Right. And I don't take antidepressants anymore. And when I go to therapy now, I actually go for the therapy. I go to do work. I don't go there.
You're building now.
Mm-hmm. And then I started paying attention to my dreams, because my dreams just all of a sudden got fucking crazy when I quit smoking weed, for whatever reason. I don't know, it just opened me up to dreams, and then the dreams showed me what was wrong, and I just paid attention to the dreams, and I was like, okay, these are what I need to work on. Issues with my parents, issues with my appearance to others, issues with getting external validation, whatever it is, the dreams showed me, and then that's kind of the path I took.
Are you still having those dreams?
Not as intense.
Not as intense? So it all came together at that one moment? Or that recovery moment, it all came together?
Yeah, everything just started clicking.
Yeah.
And it's funny how when the point I'm trying to convey here is when you give up control to the forces that be, whatever it is, whatever the thing is that drives the universe to go round and round, when you give up control and you say, I trust that I have this long-term goal of fulfilling some kind of purpose, and I trust it's going to happen, and I don't know necessarily how it's going to unfold, but I do believe it's going to happen, then it starts happening. Then you start seeing coincidences. Then just dominoes just fucking fall, and you're just like, huh? You're like, that was so easy. All I had to do was just let it happen.
All there, all along.
So, what's interesting is, you know, you going back to a couple minutes ago when you were talking about your job, what you liked about it, what you hated about it.
Yeah.
You said, "Oh, I like teaching people."
Mm-hmm.
What else did you say? You said, "I like teaching people."
I like learning.
I like learning.
So like I didn't know how database schemas worked. I didn't know any of that stuff, and I was like, this is interesting how this all works. I liked that.
What you did was you took all the stuff you didn't like, throw it away. You took away that job, quit that job. You're taking the stuff that you like now, and you're putting it into this right now.
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing, and that's what's driving you every day, is the stuff that you like to do.
Yep.
Yeah, and just like you say, you don't hate your job. I didn't really hate my job. I just hated it.
It wasn't good or bad.
No.
Yeah.
It was just a thing that I was doing that wasn't resonating with me anymore. Really.
But you wanted to take the things that you liked.
Yeah, I took the things I liked.
You turned it into something positive.
We can find what we're good in stuff we don't like. Like, I can find what I'm good at in corporate jobs. Because I like to do it.
Yeah.
And what I liked most was teaching people how to use a product. Not the product itself. I just liked the way it looked in their eyes when I was like, this person gets it now. I've taught them, and they've incorporated it.
They get it.
The product is just a shell, really. You don't care what it really is at the end of the day.
Just the teaching.
Just teaching.
Yeah, and that's what I love doing. And I don't know, I think my book in a way is me teaching myself.
Or more so sharing understanding.
Yeah. So the book, do you have anything else to say about? I don't know.
I would just encourage.
The conversation's just kind of
I think it's a good way to think, and I encourage people to think about the things they like about their job. Really, what do you like? And I think every job isn't perfect. There's gonna be things you hate. There's gonna be things that you like.
Yeah.
But if you truly think about the things that you like out of that job, I think you can truly decide what makes you happy, and you can truly use that as a guide of where you want to go.
That, and I think too many people focused on what they hate about their job.
Yep.
And they use that, and they say, all right, I've got to go find a new job, and they launch themselves into a new job, or they quit their job, and then the first thing they realized was that there was all these things they really liked about their job, and that maybe their new job is even worse in some regards.
And that happens with anything.
It's that grass is greener phenomenon.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like nobody wants to just appreciate what they have in the now and say, I like it, this is good, these are the things I like. Maybe there's bad in everything. You have to just accept that and say, hey, I like where I am right now, I'm comfortable with that, I'm happy with that.
All goes back to now.
Yeah, and that's a challenge. That's something I think everyone struggles with.
I don't like that people say, I have these parts of me I don't like, or I have this stuff that I don't like.
You can't not like yourself.
Like, yin and yang is a real thing, and the fact that we're all fucking gonna have good and bad in us. And that's the point of being human, is to balance it.
Yeah.
And balance it a little more towards the good, but like, or the positive, whatever, the positive and negative, I guess. The shadow and the light.
Yeah, but people have things they don't like about themselves, but then they don't do. And that's fine, right? Like you said, people do. People have good and bad. But they take the bad and they say, well, okay. You know, and they feel bad for themselves, or they want other people to feel bad for them. Just do something about it then. If it's that big of a deal to you. If you don't like it, just do something about it.
And like accept that that's the way it is right now.
Yeah.
Like, just because something is this way in this moment doesn't mean it's bad.
Exactly.
It's just the way it is. And I think a lot of people get confused and they're like, I have this really, here's one of the most fucked up things I think I do a lot. And it's when a natural disaster happens, a little part of me gets excited. And I don't like that happens because I know people are dying, but like there's a teeny little part of me that like gets a little excited about a hurricane happening or whatever the fuck it is. I don't know why. And if I had told me that part of me, that's bad, and try to get rid of it, then it would just keep coming back.
Yeah, maybe it's because you see that there is an opportunity
for change,
to do good and to help people.
Yeah.
And you're excited that, like, even though this was a bad thing that happened, it's brought people an opportunity to to share some love.
Just like my injury wasn't bad, it was exciting for me.
It was an opportunity.
So and in investigating this idea just itself is like, if I were to just say that's a bad feeling and not to have it, as opposed to investigating why it's there, which is what you just did, I never see the truth of it. I never see, oh, this isn't bad. This is just...
It's the same thing as like when you have a political argument with somebody and they just say, hey, I'm just going to accept all of these facts as they are. I'm not going to challenge the why or the who.
Right.
And then you've built some belief, and is it really the right belief? You don't know because you didn't challenge any of the premises getting there. So like, you know, I think that's something we see today a lot with social media. Is everyone is in this echo chamber and nobody wants to really challenge anything because it's hard. It's like doing math challenge. So no one wants to challenge it.
Yeah.
They have to think critically and they have to start to break down and go back down to the root of their premise. Nobody wants to do that.
And this is why so many fucking people just get in arguments on Facebook, is because like they're like, this is my belief system, this is everything that I am, and I am never changing it. This is the way it is. And like, it's silly.
And they're not even arguments, really.
No, they're just like, I want to make other people believe this thing I believe, is what they're really doing, I think.
I don't even think it's that.
What do you think it
it's
is?
Almost like, I want everyone to know that I am a believer in this. It's not even that people aren't even trying to convince people of anything anymore. I don't see that, at least. When I see like Facebook rants and all these things, it's just like declaring your allegiance to something or loyalty to something, blind loyalty.
Adding,
cool thing to do.
Saying,
you're adding to yourself.
I'm blindly loyal to this cause. I don't care what they do. I don't care how they got there. I just think they're the right thing. That's what it looks like to me, at least. Because I mean, sometimes I like to challenge people. I like to start an argument, and that's my first thing. Is always like, how did you get to this premise? Or I'll present something and say, they'll say, no, that's wrong, and I'll say, okay, well, do you agree with these premises? If not, why? Like, what's wrong about these? And that's where the argument always ends, because no one ever wants to go back to the premise. No one ever wants to challenge anything. They just say, well, no, I was told you were wrong, so you're wrong.
Because then you threaten the foundation if you do that.
Yeah.
And the foundation is who they think they are.
Exactly. You literally would tear their beings apart. But that's good. That's what you did. You tore yourself apart. You broke yourself all the way down. Maybe it took a life-threatening injury.
It took writing a book
to get there, but that life-threatening injury led to you breaking down those walls and getting back to your core premises, maybe figuring out that fear of writing you had was totally unfounded.
It was.
And didn't apply at all anymore, and then boom, out of that came a book.
In a month. I wrote a book in a month.
You had to break down those walls though, otherwise you would have never written the book.
And going back to control and allowing, if I was trying to control the way the words came out, then the book wouldn't have happened. But instead I just listened and I allowed whatever I thought the next paragraph is, whatever the next word is, the next sentence, I just let it come out.
The word flow.
Yeah, it's 100% flow.
Flow.
And that's why I have this little water thing right next to me, because it reminds me that I'm in flow when I turn it on, and when I'm writing. So I write right in front of that. So I don't know. I think we're at about 45 minutes. I want to give a little overview on what the next episodes will be like. I think this is going to be the last one with just us three for a little bit.
Okay.
So we're just going to have people come on, and kind of like how I've been telling my story over the past 2 episodes about how like I went through the process of breaking myself down so that I could build myself up again from this new foundation that is actually something I resonate with, as opposed to having this a bunch of stuff I don't really even know how I made myself.
That you once resonated with.
Right. Yeah. I guess maybe I once resonated with it, yeah.
But now you're resonating in the now.
Trying to, yeah. So we're going to have people come on, and, we're just going to be like, how did you get here? Because I've told them what the premise of this is, and the premise is showing other people that it's possible to break yourself down and build something good. Because it's something you actually want, Yeah. It's not something that other people want for you. You're just like, oh, I want to write a book, so I do it. It's for me,
Yeah. It's a bigger challenge to break yourself down than it is to have someone else break you down. You can go to the army, they'll break you down and build you back up, but
in their way.
It's a lot easier to do that because it's scripted, they tell you what to do. I think breaking yourself down and challenging yourself in that way is...
In the book I've written is really just a script in a way, but it's through my own personal experience of how everything fell apart and how I started to put it all back together. And that's the book. The book is just that process.
Yeah.
and to show people it's hard, but it's not scary if you just are here. And
It's
you're
to
not,
show that it's possible.
and it is possible.
Anyone can do it.
A person that had a pretty good corporate job that made a good amount of money and left it and decided, I want to do what I want to do. I don't want to live for the weekend, you know?
Yeah.
So if there's one, I'm going to ask you because I always do.
Yeah.
If there's one thing you want people to take away from this, what is it?
I don't know. I think we have, I don't know. We have something in us, all of us, that we want to do. And we know we have it because we can feel it. Otherwise we wouldn't wake up every day. You know, we wake up and we're still here because we're choosing to do it, because deep down we feel like there's an opportunity for something better, for something that is true to who we are to do. And you know, just it takes a lot of time. I got lucky in the sense that I got to be by myself for like a month and a half. Basically, you know, I went to a mountain by myself for a month is what I really did, and I found myself in a way. But it's a lot harder when you have the day-to-day 9-to-5 stuff in the way if you're finding yourself, because then other people get in the way and they tell you who you are. So what you should know is just never, you really can't ever give up. You just have to know eventually it's going to work. Eventually it's going to work. And you just have to believe that. And then one day you'll wake up and it'll just be like, I have a podcast, I've written a book, and I have a blog, and I have this other job in metaphysics that I never thought I would have, and all this stuff just kind of happened for me because I allowed it to happen for me, and I didn't try to get in the way of it.
You're living in the present.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Things will come.
I think that's the message. So we got some good guests lined up, a lot of fun stories to go over, a lot of journeys. So this is gonna keep being fun. So keep tuning in. Trying to play some music for you guys.
Free minds out.
That's what I want to do.
Yeah.